Hey folks, welcome back to another edition of Community Focus right here on WPGC 95.5. I'm your host, News Affairs Director, Guy Lambert. So glad you're joining us this morning. And as is always the case, boy, do we got a great show lined up for you. Gotta get to that in just one second. Before we do so, need to remind you that the comments and opinions expressed during the course of this program are not necessarily the views of WPGC Radio nor CBS Broadcasting. Well, it's no secret. In this day and age, HBCUs are continuing to operate under limited funds and little resources, especially during the current economic recession. And with financial loss comes cuts to vital areas such as technology, equipment, and guest speakers. That's where Mr. Don Napoleon comes into play. You see, he created the Napoleon Complex Project, under which he launched a program known as eXposure. It's a way to provide students with the resources and opportunities they need. He's here to chit-chat about it with us. He's also an award-winning producer and graduate of Virginia State University, currently serves as a producer, videographer, and photographer right here in the D.C. area. He's also joined this morning by his wife, Miss Erica Napoleon. She's part of the creative department, creative director, if you will, and co-founder, and both of which are kind enough to join me this morning right here on Community Focus. Gotta say thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
So glad that you all are here this morning. Now let's see, Don, I got an opportunity to meet both you and your wife. I guess it was about a week ago. I got a telephone call from Justine Love, happens to be my producer, Community Affairs Director. She said, Guy, we're giving a tour and you're going to give it. And I said, oh, really? And then about, maybe 2 or 3 hours later, you all happened to show up with about, 40 kids from Virginia State University?
Yep, just about 35 students.
Wow. And it was real cool. I got the opportunity to give them a tour of the radio station, show them that we don't just sit here and talk on a microphone. It's a business, man, as Jay-Z says. And they got the opportunity to see that. That just happens to be one of the programs that you offer under your program known as eXposure. Folks that are hearing about the Napoleon Complex Project for the first time, tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. My wife and I developed the program. I'm an HBCU graduate, and upon coming out of school, I basically had to hit the street running myself and trying to basically find my path as far as in the media industry. And the relationships I've made along the way and where I've gotten now.
You were talking about how HBCUs really, a lot of the times, from my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so many times in this day and age, a lot of times you find yourself not being put in a position where you can actually have hands-on experience.
Right.
And once again, that's where your company comes into play.
Right. I'm an HBCU graduate, and coming out of school, searching through the media industry and basically hitting the ground and trying to find out where and how I can find a job was a little difficult. So years later, and all the relationships that we've made, we've been able to provide this new media tour and this pathway for HBCU students, be able to get them inside studios. We've taken them to ESPN, ABC, Al Jazeera, XM, and of course here, we brought them here on the last tour. We even brought them to smaller production companies like the Fairfax Video Studio and Henniger Video, but it basically gives them an opportunity to meet different professionals in the field, see what other positions are out there, and expose them to a different area in media.
Yeah, I say this time and time again. There's nothing like having an internship under your belt once you finish college, or even while you're in college. That will really, really assist you. And I have to give you credit for really trying to make a difference within our community for folks that are really looking to further their education by working in this field, that being the communications field. Who and what type of professionals do you get to expose a lot of these students to? I know you made mention of ESPN, and I know you said that you came here as well, but do they get a chance to talk with a lot of the folks that you interact with?
Yes, during the tour, we also take a break for lunch, and there we have some of the professionals come and speak to the kids. Brian Bullock is a writer, producer, and director. He also has his own company, Bundy Films. Wendy Cherry, she actually works for the Recording Academy, the Grammys. She came and spoke with the students. Some folks from Capital File, Tanisha Brooks. She's a principal chief creative officer. She has her own company, Ty Brooks Creative. She calls herself the brandinista. I can't even pronounce it. She, helps kids focus on branding themselves. That's big nowadays. Creating a brand for yourself.
Right.
And also Ed Dandridge, President and CEO of the National Association of Investment Companies. He was great. He came and spoke to the kids about, just like you said, the internships. Just start. It doesn't matter. It's okay to start from the ground up.
Oh yeah.
When you come in the office, make sure you let everyone know who you are. Speak up, shake hands, like all those things. it's really great that people come in and, just give the kids a little talk about their experiences in the industry.
Yeah, I think back to when I was in college, and I always knew what I wanted to do to a certain extent, but having an internship and having the ability to put my hands on the equipment really solidified it for me. It really did, and I would assume that happens with a lot of the students as well.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. I mean, again, with the symposium, just to piggyback on what my wife said, we get an opportunity to bring professionals that basically are production coordinators of live shows, like Kenya Farmer. I mean, she works on BET Honors and the Mark Twain Awards. I mean, these huge shows. But the biggest part that we like to expose the students to is they never know that these positions are even available. Working as a production coordinator, working as a production manager for these huge films that come in the area, and we grab these professionals because we know them, they're friends of ours, and we come in, they sit with the students, they talk to them, they talk about their career path, and the students get an opportunity to talk to them one-on-one, get their information, and follow up them, potentially get internships.
I gotta tell you, I'm sold. There are a lot of colleges based right here in the DC area, and I would assume you're gonna be bombarded with calls from folks that are, in the communications program looking to further their education. How would one go about to do so? Just pick up the telephone and give you a call?
Well, we primarily work with groups. We work with school communication programs. So we basically ask the schools to be able to reach out to us. They can reach us. They can reach out to us and basically come to our blog shop. Our blog website is exposureprogram.blogspot.com, or they can come directly to the website. It's the Napoleon Complex Project.com, and then under services we have an area where we have a whole page about exposure. And once they go there, they can get our information. Our email addresses are Don at the NC Project and Erica at the ncproject.com.
Yeah, this is a really good thing. Once again, it gives students the opportunity to really see what happens day in and day out at an organization, at a communications organization. For example, here, we talked about the sales department, how folks sell commercials here at the radio station. We talked about the promotions department, how we promote our radio station. And the same thing goes for, let's say, a TV station and or a news paper outlet, if you will. So I would highly, highly recommend you really take part in this program because you're going to get some hands-on experience. What's up next for you guys? What do you have on the horizon?
Well, we're still developing a couple other programs. We like to do a sort of kind of a 48-hour type film project at each university if they're interested. We are preparing to do more of a bigger type of symposium and get directors of Hollywood films in here, basically do kind of a one-on-one with the kids. So our continuing job is to produce stories. Exposure is a story in development, and that's what Napoleon Complex Project does. And we're continuing to make a documentary out of these kids' lives and keep exposing them to the media industry.
One more time, folks looking for additional information, the best way to go about to get it.
The best way to go about getting in touch with us is our blog. It's exposureprogram.blogspot.com, or they can go directly to the website. It's NapoleonComplexProject.com. And if I could throw one more thing in regards to funding, how we operate, we're always looking for donors. We're always looking for sponsors. So please reach out to us and find out how you can get involved and how you can support us as well.
Yeah, times are hard, and you're giving back to the community, so we encourage you to also DC, Maryland, and Virginia contribute to this good cause as well. Once again, Mr. Don Napoleon and Mrs. Erica Napoleon. Truly a pleasure to have you both on the show this morning.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. All right, folks, stick around. We're going to take a quick break. More community focus coming up next right here on WPGC 95.5. Good job, guys.